We're going to start our motor project by creating the first electromagnet. The electromagnet has to be made from an iron core and a coil of wire around that iron core that's going to conduct electricity. So the wire that you have to use has to be an insulated wire. This is considered magnet wire, and you should have a coil of this. The first bit of caution, safety, is these little ends are going to be sharp. So whenever you unwind this and you are coiling this up, as that end that is flopping around, make sure it does not come up and hit your eye or anyone's eye that might be around. So some of the best things to do is to go ahead and straighten this out. Okay. So you've got your wire. I'm going to set it aside. What I want to show you are the pieces that you're going to use. This is a piece of iron metal, some type of mild steel. It has to sit onto this holder like this. If you turn it upside down like this and you wire it this way, you're going to have to undo it and start all over. So this is going to sit here, and it's got a gap underneath of it so that the wire can fit underneath, because this is going to go right in here. And I don't know if you can see that gap, but that gap is going to is made so that the wire will be able to fit in there. So whenever we do this, we need to make sure that we get the wire tight enough in here that it doesn't pop this off. So if you've only got this much room for your wire, so you have to be aware of that. So the wire cannot be pushed or wound around this thing further out than what it would be flush with these two lines right here, okay? So we need to make sure we hold this tight. First thing you need to do is make sure you have 3 to 4 inches of this wire not wound up. If you only leave just an inch or less, you're not going to be able to get this over here because once this is wired up, you've got to be able to get it over here to the battery or over here to the brushes, which will come in a later video. So I'm going to leave plenty of room whenever I start to wire this. Now when you pick this up, you're going to have to grab all 3 at some point, okay? I don't know if you're left-handed, right-handed, but at some point you're going to leave some room here and you're going to start getting this wound. So I'm going to leave at least that much room, okay? This first one is the hardest one. You need to make about 2 or 3 wraps, then come back, okay? Hold this again. Make sure you're getting this as nice and tight as possible, okay? So hopefully this is still in focus. Try to wrap this, and then try not to get it sideways like this. This will need to come back at some point. So once you're at this point, try to keep these wraps as neat as possible, okay? So if you're wrapping it, sometimes you can stop, kind of push this down, and you'll be okay, all right? But we want to wrap this nice and neat. Now you're going to have several dozen wraps here, so just be patient with it. Okay. Again, watch the end of your wire so it does not come up and hit anyone in the face with this, including you or anyone else, pets or siblings or anyone else who might be watching you. So once you get to the end, just keep wrapping. You're going to try to come back whenever you get done. You should have another 3 or 4 inches later. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, okay? But the tighter and neater that you have this, the better this is going to work. You can put more wraps here in the corner and it's going to be just fine. Notice I've got more room to put things in here. If we put too much in the center, the metal part that has to spin, if it gets caught in this, then you got to rewrap it. There's no option. So you got to make sure that you don't put too much in the center, but at the same time, you can't have any down here past where this is going to be level. I will finish this up and cut back to whenever I'm done. Okay, so I'm done with this. We're going to have both of our wires coming off of both ends. If one end is a little bit longer, then that's fine. Again, notice this is in line, okay? Should not be crooked, okay? And this, you'll notice the wires are not below what is going to be flush right here, okay? And they're not sticking up. See, that would stick up too much. Pull that down. For the other part to be able to spin around it inside of this, okay? So we need to make sure, you can test this. So I've cut back to here. So now we can test this by putting that into place. Did it have enough room for it to sit in there and not pop out? If this wasn't tight enough, this would pop out and we couldn't, it wouldn't stay, all right? So at this point, you make sure that's in there tight, and these wires will then be able to tuck inside of here if needed, all right? Eventually, we're going to bring them in here like this into the outside. Actually, they both need to go in the same direction here, okay? Take them in both into the same one on the same side, and there we are. So on the bottom side, we got both wires. Remember, all of this has an insulation on them. On the very ends, we will make this bare wire and this bare wire just for the last 1/2 inch or so with some sandpaper, okay?